connected TV, bought media, video content has become the new commercial. Don't ever let the truth get in the way of a good story. So, all these facts now, but we got to have good stories. They're the challenger brand. If you're a challenger brand out there and you're looking up at the behemoth, this is all the challenger brands. You've got to find ways to kind of stick your neck out there and get out there. Hey guys, Ryan Alford, your host of the Radcast.
You're listening to the Radcast. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome to the latest edition of the Radcast. It is Friday, May 7th, 2021. Wherever you are, however you are, whenever you are, we say hello and welcome to the latest episode. What's up, Reiley Clark?
Hey, glad to be back. I was off last week.
You were out last week. Josh and I had to take over.
Yeah.
Reiley Clark, our lovely producer and my co-host for the news episodes, was out last week, and but I'm just glad to have you back in the saddle.
Yeah, no, same. It's good. I love our news episodes. They're great, and we always get to catch up about all the things that are happening. And I feel like we get to make this announcement too. Just the ongoing content and everything that is happening on the Radcast is becoming so big.
Yep.
We need to give it to you guys in a much better way. So we have decided to create a newsletter very specifically designed for just Radcast content, latest, what you need to, latest and greatest in marketing, what's going on, our guests, Ryan's opinions. It's all there. So super excited. And you can sign up on the Radcast.
Hey, your money goes far around here, i.e. nothing. You pay nothing for this. And we give you some decent advice, I think. I've done this for 20 years. You take it or leave it. It's free. It's entertaining, though. No, in all seriousness, we're putting thought into this. We want it to be, something that you want to keep getting once a month. We're not going to overbear your mailbox, but once a month, some recaps, what you can expect, and maybe some takeaways and some data, from either the episodes or guests, kind of summarizing different things. I think if you're a marketer or you're a business person or you're someone just in the field wanting to learn more about it, I know we've got a wide range of people in those fields. I think this will be a valuable piece that goes along with all the other content that we're building here on the Radcast. And remember, folks, it's about radical marketing results. And so
do you need
everything
to say that again? Do you need
radical marketing results. That's what we're delivering. That's what we do at Radical every day.
Yeah.
And the Radcast is our way of sharing that opinion, giving back to the business community, and really providing a hub of knowledge across. And it's not just ours, a lot of heavy hitters that come on the show. And speaking of that,
yeah, exactly.
Yes, I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with Jens from Shinesty. That would be party wear. I'm going to call it party wear. I did have this idea in college called cooler wear, when you put dressing around your cooler and you call it cooler wear.
Oh, that's
I thought it was
cool.
a good idea.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
Party wear.
We'll tell them about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. One of them. When you're an entrepreneur, you have all these ideas. Most of them kind of shitty, probably. But anyway, but in all seriousness, Jen's was awesome, and the brand is awesome and so funny. So irreverent, but having fun with their brand, selling product, and making parties fun again.
Honestly,
come on. Who doesn't want to go to a party and wear some Hawaiian gear or something?
Oh, yeah, I know. And I feel like just the way there was a lot of really cool things to take away from that episode, but I think one of the biggest things for me was kind of just the creative content and why that's so important, because it gets overlooked, I feel like, and you've talked about this a lot on the podcast recently with guests, like, I feel like that can be overlooked sometimes, or the attention's not necessarily there, but he really hit heavy on entertaining first.
Yeah.
Building your community, sell last.
You do that, and then it gives you license to sell, and they want to buy from you. That's what people understand. This isn't, it's not difficult. And look, entertainment, I even thought about this, saw the post this morning at some of the clips. I'm like, some brands are not going to necessarily entertain, but then educate. You can entertain.
Exactly. It depends on what your brand needs. Yeah.
You're not all going to be Shinesty selling ball hammocks. I get it, but you can still engage and create and educate in insightful, enlightening, and surprise and delight ways. And so they're doing it in like with a Mack truck, like honk, they ain't honking. They're just kind of running you over with hilariousness. And so great episode. And then we've got some really great already recorded stuff in the tank. So we're getting ahead of it. They're beating down the walls to get in on the Radcast now. I mean, it's just happening. It's happening, Reiley. They're like literally clawing and beating. I'm kidding. We really love and appreciate guest submissions. We've gotten several here recently on the website. So if you're listening and you've got a good story, if it's radical, we cover it. So we'd like to hear
I see your emails. Don't worry.
Exactly. So keep sending those in. But I mean, look, one of my absolute who I look up to, I mean, if you follow Lockhead on Marketing, one of the most popular marketing podcasts. He's a #1 podcaster on Apple, for business. And I'm pretty sure Lockhead's right there in the top 5. If not, he might be #1 now. I don't follow every ranking, but anyway, amazing, and written several books, but his total body of work combined with just how fucking smart he is. Like, he's just like, every time I think, hey, I think I know this marketing stuff, and like listening to his wisdom that just seems to like ooze out of him,
Dude,
like as he talks about stuff.
That whole time I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just over here like trying to timestamp.
It's so like, in a way, like I came like, like I'm recording and I'm interviewing, and I freaking am sitting there like getting motivated through the podcast and going, all right, it's validating some of the decisions. I mean, our name is Radical. I've built this agency on the premise of taking chances and going big and all these things that he preaches, and it was validating, but also just, all right, stay the course.
Exactly.
So really, really great. And look out for that one. And then several other guests. I mean, who else have we had? We've had
Noah Sims again will be joining us again.
Noah's next Tuesday, next episode. Dude, brother from another. He's great. He's great. Love Noah. Yeah. We've been collaborating on several things. So he's coming. Noah Sims, MasterChef finalist. We did an episode 2 with him, and talked on a couple of different angles about being real. I'll kind of talk. It's probably that's the biggest lens, the authenticity, the transparency, and the need for that in today's social media. So really, really enlightening episode with Noah that's coming out next week.
Yeah. And then after that, we have an incredible PR lady. She didn't really specify that she owned her own firm or that she's a firm, but she's like a PR guru, I'd call her for sure. Gloria Chow, and she's been working with some huge people, gotten people in a real tangible way how to hack their own PR. And so that's basically going to be the bulk of the episode. And it's that was an incredible conversation. She's very intelligent, and she's had a very interesting background. TV producer, U.S. diplomat, and now she's in the PR world. Really hitting some big hitters. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking with her. Really easy to talk to, flowed well, good insights. PR is so huge these days. I mean, like it just, with all the channels and wanting to have authenticity and authority, it's just got to be in the playbook and might be #1. I'm not sure. It's getting up there.
The timeliness of it. You guys will love this episode.
Very, very good. So Christopher Lockhead, one of the legends, Noah Sims, and PR extraordinaire.
Can
we just call her PR extraordinaire, I guess?
Oh, yeah. No, I was like guru extraordinaire.
Yeah. We're not leaving you out, David. If you're listening to this podcast, you're a guy. But we like Gloria. She's up in old Brooklyn.
Yes.
Had a good conversation. She's really tackling it from a little different angle with helping people not necessarily pitch their stories, but create their stories. She's coaching PR. So it was really interesting. So lots of good stuff. Many new episodes. Keep sending in all of those guest submissions. We want to hear from you, folks. We want to hear from you at theradcast.com. Now here's Reiley with the news.
All right, first topic for today, YouTube, our huge giant of streaming services and just TV brilliancy, essentially. It's changing the game of TV, I should say, changing the game of really streaming platforms. And they came out with an update And, in this huge presentation they have, they are developing a new way of brand extensions as a way to kind of connect what you're seeing in the video or what you're seeing in the feature you're watching with the branded content, taking you to the brand's website or whatever it is. Super, super cool, as well as commerce content and more things that they're developing. This, I feel like you've been projecting is going to happen for ever.
It's coming.
So,
and look, TV is in the sense of, as I stare at our TV in our studio here, like TV as a medium is not dying. Like television, the big screen in the living room, it's not dying. You're going to have it for entertainment. It's going to be another screen, though I would argue the smartphone is now the main TV in your home, in everyone's pocket. Come back to that in a moment. But connected TV, bought media, video content has become the new commercial. And so let me explain further. So, we buy a ton of programmatic and connected TV here at the agency. And, it's starting, TV is still a behemoth, but the budgets are like shifting. It's like titanic shifts of digital media and traditional media like television and radio, those kind of things. You're seeing this shift, and connected TV, YouTube, other places where, you've historically watched TV, and normally linear TV, all of this streaming stuff is taken off. You have this balance and switch of subscribers and different things. So the eyeballs are on those platforms. And so YouTube being the number one channel, not technically connected TV, it's a whole different thing. We won't get into that nuance right now. But YouTube is doubling down on consumers using their television at home for watching more YouTube content.
Yep.
That's already happening naturally, but they're increasing it. And what this ad format is doing is it's kind of creating that holy grail, because television has never been a direct response medium. You watch it, it's a brand play, but you didn't have the way, digital's always been great because you can click on something, you can go buy it immediately, that experience within digital. TV's always been awareness hitting you. Maybe you'll look it up on your phone or something like that. But now the connection of all that is, okay, that's playing. I can hit one button and it sends the URL to my phone. And so that's been a little bit of the challenge with connected TV as well, because these ads play on, your whatever streaming service you're doing other than Netflix, and it plays and it gets that impression, but there's not been this duplicity of sharing that experience anywhere but in the screen, and not being able to make a direct call to action. Well, this kind of changes the game. It's the holy grail. You watch it, you're on your phone, connected, easy, one button. And so this is going to change the game. It's going to be really huge. YouTube, Google, it was up like 43% on their ad spending. This is going to see it go even higher. We're talking billions of dollars, but you're just seeing real time. And we've talked about it through the lens of entertainment, but the way with which we experience media and the ability and the relationship of ads and branding and experience and shopping, it's all in flux right now. You're seeing all kinds of evolutions of these things. It's going to continue to happen. Hopefully all for the better. It's better experiences because it's going to be relevant. And hopefully, I'm not getting too many pantyhose commercials on my streaming thing. And some dudes like some pantyhose. I just don't like them. I got no use for them. But I'm just saying, let's keep it relevant, people. We get rid of all these cookies. It's going to start being irrelevant. So that's a whole nother story. Let me get on that soapbox. Yeah. But hey, this is a game changer. YouTube's growing. If you're not buying on YouTube, call us.
Well, moving right along here. So this is something that, part of my generation we definitely were a part of, but definitely, millennials out here, Bombay Sapphire came together to bring Bill Nye, the science guy. We love Bill Nye. Brought Bill Nye into in a very entertaining format, educate on the combination of gin and tonic and the science of it. And essentially the appeal for this is for people, again, this is a campaign that's targeted for millennials, but essentially it's to prove that more people are actually seeking fact over fiction, especially in social media spaces, especially on, how they're receiving their information. Everything is digital. So if you're going to put something up on digital, it needs to be factual. Like it needs to have some sense of, it just needs to be factual. It's just plain and simple. So anyway, this is like going in that direction for sure. Really cool thing that they're doing. And lots of data here, but go ahead.
2 thoughts on this. Number 1, don't ever let the truth get in the way of a good story. So, all these facts now, but we got to have good stories. That's a little bit of a bad joke, but in all seriousness, I got a good story. It's totally somewhat related. So I'm a freshman at Clemson.
Okay.
And, you're venturing out and starting to drink more. Yes, I was 19. I underage drank in college like every fucking one else. So, I can admit it, people. And so starting to drink. And, in high school, we drank some beers, maybe an occasional Everclear party, like we're dumped in the cooler with fruit or something, whatever that was called. PJ. Yeah, that's probably before your time.
I was going to say,
PJ. Anybody out there shaking their head, they remember some PJ parties. Anyway, so you get to school and trying to get a little more sophisticated as in college. Bombay Sapphire came out about that time.
Oh.
I'd never been I wasn't a liquor guy. I was just a Coors Light beer drinking high school or whatever.
Right.
Playing sports. So it was very rare anyway. So, Bombay Sapphire comes out. Beautiful blue bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Just looks so cool. So nice. Yeah. And I'm like, so all my guy friends, we became gin and tonic dudes. For 4 years, I had no fewer than 40,000 Bombay gin. Maybe not that many. I'd be dead if it was that many. But let's just say it was the drink of choice.
Right.
And, when we weren't, we still drank beer. But if we were going somewhere, we'd have that Bombay. Well, we were so cool. We were so slick with that Bombay bottle. I mean, I'm telling you, I haven't had a gin and tonic since my senior year in college.
Bless, it ruined it.
It ruined it. I just killed it. Beat it into the ground, into submission. It wasn't because I got sick on it. I'm not saying I never did. Sure, at some point we all got sick in college, but but at some point, right?
And if you didn't, you did it wrong. No,
or you just weren't living.
Yeah.
No, but I wasn't I just wore out the taste, and I haven't had one in 20 something years. Anyway, sidebar, Bill Nye, the Science Guy. This was kind of coming through. I graduated in the mid 90s, and I remember this guy and certainly have seen him in pop culture and other things. He's on different commercials here and there, so I know him, but I think I was kind of passing out of this phase as he was kind of expanding. But it's a really smart play for Bombay. I'm sure millennials, especially, this is right down the path, square in the bullseye for them. And there is this whole thing of authenticity and realness that's really making a headway here on social media and otherwise, of people really wanting real. I believe that. I think it's good. It's not that I don't want real. Mm-hmm. Part of me bullshit meters this, do people really want real?
Well, I will tell
are we
you
using this for entertainment and escapism, or do we want real all the time?
I hear you. So it's interesting you mentioned that. So if you're watching our video, I have this chart up here, and essentially this is a chart that, we had found through the article, but main reasons why millennials use social media. The first 2, tide and percentage, are to stay up to date with news and current events. The second, again, the tie, to find funny or entertaining content. So it's pretty 50-50 of what they're wanting, to your point. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Entertainment's not always real. And so fine line between real and entertaining and all those things. But I will say further back to the other point, back to YouTube, let's tie all of this into a nice little bow.
Absolutely.
The smartphone is the TV. That data that Reiley just read would have been the exact data from television 10 years ago. Why do you go to it? News first, entertainment second. That's the TV. The difference is now you have an interactive device in your hand where you can engage. It's 2.0 people. You've got the inputs and the outputs instead of in the old school TV, only output from the TV. You couldn't input back into it. So smartphone is the television and the TV is the radio.
Exactly.
But it's true because you're looking at your phone the whole time. Literally, the ambient noise in the house is the TV. You're barely even looking at the screen unless you're watching a movie.
Right.
So anyway, than to get off that high horse. But it does make me rethink some of the creative that we do sometimes. The importance of sound device, theater of the mind, as my creative director likes to say, because when you theater of the mind, when you can't see what's on the screen or you're looking at another screen. So another point to think about as you develop content, but do like what Bombay is doing here. And I'm still not going to drink another one.
Yeah, mine was, I always liked it was such a weird combination, and I realize this is not a very universal thought, but I am a big tequila and ginger ale.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might could do that.
It's pretty good.
Ginger ale, I think that sounds pretty good. I like ginger ale anyway.
Me too.
Kind of cutting through that gin taste a little bit, like, but I think it's going to take, I don't know if I'll ever get over it.
No, there's some beers that I'm like, never again.
And usually it's because you just get sick on it or something, but it's not that. I just wore it out. So.
No, I mean, it happens to everyone. Everyone has that one thing that it's like, never again. All right, next on our list. So we've been talking a lot about Pepsi recently, and there's some really important reasons why. First of all, they have gotten really big into the experiential marketing space, and we've seen that time and again with the game show they're doing, with just different things. I'm kind of losing a little bit of the other ones, but there is a lot of examples there. But this is another really cool example of how they're kind of implementing that strategic marketing experimental space, and it's with Pep's Place. And Pepsi is essentially creating a ghost kitchen kind of idea to focus on the beverage first, the beverage combinations, and what food will complement that beverage.
I like this play. This is one of those. I'm not going to say it's Coke and drones, or
You always hate on
I will
Coke.
say that coffee Coke is getting real towards the bottom of the shelf. That Coke coffee, it is going over there, the land of misfit toys where Coke Energy is, exactly like I said it was. They call me Coke. I will help you with product development. So maybe it's killing it somewhere and I don't know it. But in my stores, it's making its way over to all those shitty drinks with the land of misfit toys that no one drinks, that it eventually works itself out. I think there's like one flavor of Coke Zero or Coke Energy left. It's almost gone. That Coke coffee is fading fast.
No, because they're selling out, Ryan. That's why they're just
selling
kidding.
itself right off the shelf is what they're doing. Anyway, so I hope this doesn't fall. I think this is a better marketing idea. I like the notion of order the drink first. It's kind of cool, and it does kind of make sense. It's no different than like wine, pairing wine with food. I don't know if I'm thinking about my Pepsi Mango and my pizza or not, but hey, it is a similar premise here, because that's what I would do when I go to a restaurant, order whatever wine I'm going to have, and then I pair the food at least somewhat remotely. I'm not like that hoity-toity about it, but if I'm having a steak, it's red wine. So, it might be and fish is probably getting white. That's about as complex as I might get, but there is a decision process there. I don't know what goes with Pepsi Mango, but I like the premise here. And it's also playing off, I don't think delivery is going anywhere, and food ordering and all that. That genie's not going back in the bottle. So there's some good insights here that are rationale. Pep's Place, sure, like fine, but like the insight, like where it's going, no idea if it'll do anything but just be a PR gimmick. But I do think it's smart look, they're the challenger brand. If you're a challenger brand out there and you're looking up at the behemoth, like this is T-Mobile looking up at Verizon 15 years ago. I'm not saying that's the case anymore, but it was. It's as all the challenger brands, you've got to find ways to kind of stick your neck out there and get out there. Pepsi's done a good job of that. Don't know how it's translated to sales ultimately. I think they're still like dwarfed by Coke's sales for the most part. I'm a Coke guy myself. Sorry, Pepsi, but tell. Coke Zero. Coke Zero. I love Coke Zero. It doesn't mean I like all of their marketing gimmicks, but I will say there's good insight here. I like the notion of ordering your drink first. There's something there. So maybe they can stick with that. And they got a whole new campaign coming out overall. So we'll see how that plays. I like me some Cardi B and some videos. I'm cool with that. Let's get Cardi B back on that Pepsi spot.
Oh, I know. I love
She's
it all.
Hilarious.
I know. I love it all. Next on our list, kind of in the same line of thought a little bit, PepsiCo's Frito-Lay unit is offering a social media contest to win branded, because this is what I would want, branded like flaming hot merchandise essentially, but it's a competition between Doritos spicy chips, which I don't eat this, so I'm going to say this so wrong, but Doritos spiciness and the Cheetos. Yes, thank you. The
Flamin'
Cheetos.
Hots.
Flaming Hots. Yeah. So essentially the Flaming Hot Wars. So they're competing back and forth for this. But the interesting thing that I'm taking away from this and why it's relevant for us on the Radcast here is because they're really tapping into influencer marketing, which we've been talking really heavily about the last couple episodes. And essentially, you know, this is really targeted towards Gen Z and they recognize that. But I think what's interesting is this data that comes from how many people look at influencers, what they're doing and go, oh, well, they're doing that. Okay, I'll do it too. I mean, it's like it's a no-brainer. If people are going to start promoting, you know, more of one of these products versus the other, I bet you from the audience they're trying to target, Gen Z, that price is going to, you know, that sales what's going to show.
Yep. I agree with all that. And the bigger thing that I agree with is that I love me some Flamin' Hot stuff. Let me just say this. So I'm a connoisseur of the Flaming Hot suite of products, whether it's Doritos, Cheetos, chips, corn chips, whatever it is. I like hot stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time, like, I remember, this is going to make you hungry a little bit, maybe. But
we always do this.
I know. Everybody likes food. I like to talk about food. Big dude, I like food. So if I was on a deserted island with only one food choice, one food group, it would be chips. I'm a chip guy. Like, I try not to keep my girlish figure. I try not to eat as many as I used to, but I am a chip guy. And there was always, like, they'd say this is spicy. Like, coming, you know, growing up, it was never that spicy. Is like, you know, like pepper on or something, you know, never. These Flaming Hots came out and I was like, you know, I had my doubts like every other spicy chip to him. That shit's hot. Like, it is warm to the mouth. And for a guy that likes spice, you know, it's kind of like 3 in. I'm like, all right, give me some water or something, you know, which I enjoy. I like the heat. But I say all that to say, I like this play. I think it's all Frito-Lay. So it's two products. Hey, who do you like better? You like our Diet Coke or our Coke? Like, you know, exactly. Like, who wins here? Yeah, Coke.
Me. Still winning regardless.
Yeah. So, but it's cool playing off that. And I do think it has this kind of aura on social media and with millennials and other things, because everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you're nodding along, if you're eating or eat these chips, you know what I'm talking about. That heat's pretty hot. And it kind of has its own discussion point because of how hot it truly is. So you get people talking and then, hey, so who's going to win? I don't know. I would vote for some Cheetos. I like some Cheetos. That's in the chip family. So anyway, but influencer marketing, love all that stuff. We've talked ad nauseum. I think the important thing here is get yourself some Flamin' Hot chips.
That's the takeaway. That's the takeaway. Is that I'm just kidding.
Yes. Hey, we're dropping some bombs on here. Thank you, Bradley. I'll take your statement here once every now and then on marketing, but occasionally you just got to tell people to go eat a little bit. You know.
Right. No, I get that.
Maybe it's because lunchtime for us and I'm hungry.
I was going to say, yeah, we are getting close to our lunchtime here, but that's totally okay. No, so our last topic, and we'll keep this, in all good fun because this is a really cool topic. Our Mr. Brilliant Elon Musk has his company OpenAI is creating a way to basically revolutionize the marketing space through artificial intelligence. A lot of people in the marketing space have been anticipating something like this is going to totally revolutionize the space. I think a lot of people were just kind of waiting for the right person to really get it in the door. And what better person than Elon Musk? To me, this is brilliant. Like, yeah, super smart guy, obviously. Ironically, depending on when you're watching this, I think Elon, or listening to this, obviously it's Friday, May 7th. Well, on Friday, May 8th, Elon Musk. So if you listen to this on the 7th, is going to be on SNL.
And so sidebar here, I'm just full of sidebars today.
No, go ahead.
But Elon Musk, brilliant guy. He's been driving a lot of the Bitcoin increases with Dogecoin. And there's a rumor, and my Dogecoin investment, I want to thank you, Elon, personally for making it go up. I've made at least 20 grand the last couple of weeks, thanks to you, because you keep talking about it and people keep buying it, and it makes mine go up. He's going to be on SNL, and they think he's going to do or say something about Dogecoin again, like somewhere in a skit. And so it's been going up all week. And so anyway, brilliant. He owns like $5 billion. He's probably like quadrupled his money. If he really bought $5 billion when he said he bought $5 billion, then he's got like $100 billion now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the rich get richer. But all right, back to AI and marketing.
Yeah.
They're coming for our jobs, people. That's what it's an agency. It's like, we're going to get replaced by robots. Yes and no. It's going to place a more onus on strategy. But the cool thing here is finally you're getting AI that can like write in a human nature to touch. Like this is the biggest thing, because generally when you've had this AI written communication, like a blog post or an ad or something like that, it's like good for like 5 words and then it gets sideways. And so what this can do, I'm summarizing, but it has all these touch points that can feed it data to essentially write a blog, in a human way. It still needs some editing and proofing, but we're getting closer to this kind of, I don't know, even further democratization of content development. But what it's going to do is put the onus on increased strategy is really going to be the differentiator from agency to agency. So I feel good about that one, because we will strategize people right out of their jobs, people. Just kidding. In all seriousness, AI is going to change the world. It already is changing the world. As long as they don't blow us up like they did in the Terminators, I'm okay with them writing some copy. And I actually kind of look, I'm like, dang, I pay some writers some heavy money to write some blogs down here. I might be getting me some robots, Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, not to replace, we'll get them like doing some smart thinking or editing the robots, like. Right. But
the thing is like, I really think, and I'm a native digital user. Like this is what I was born with. Like I really only know. I mean, yes, I do remember when my mom and dad had the little tiny brick flip phones,
right.
Where like, sure. I remember you didn't have to put the 304 before West Virginia area code, before you put the 304 before you dialed the rest of the phone number. Like I remember those days, but for the most part, I've only really used technology in school and everything else. So for me to feel like this still isn't going to replace the human brain, like, because this is not, I don't think this is ever going to a human is still going to have to connect with another human for the human to make the decision.
Oh, well.
And like, at
least in our lifetime.
Yeah. The people listening to this 100 years from now, she was not right.
Someone's listening going, keep telling yourself that, honey.
Yeah.
Keep telling yourself.
Well, I'll be dead by then, so it's okay.
We never thought they would do this. Did you ever think a robot would drive your car for you? Oh, well, now they are. Well, so you don't think that robot's going to tell you what to do?
And it's totally great because it's optimizing the human experience, and I understand that, and that's all fine and good. But ultimately, the human is who the products do, and you can't
No, you can't replace that completely yet.
Yeah. So
even with this, but you can shortcut some of it if the robot can. And I'm calling them robots, AI, but I'm going to call it a robot.
Right.
Even though it's not even if it's just a computer doing it, still software, still robotic. It's in some way, even if it's just the memory of it.
It's collaboration, and this is what I like about it, because I could see, eventually somewhere down the road, it's like you have your personal AI development tool that helps you in your career. Like I can see that happening, and I think that would be a really cool piece to have. Just for being resourceful and making the most use of your time. Yep. Unfortunately, everything is getting very much more high demand of work and things like that, which is good in some ways, but in some ways, it could take away from other parts of things. So I think having this AI component is a really cool thing to start seeing being implemented in the marketing space. And we'll obviously be following it here because we always.
Yeah, it has an impact. So for sure. I mean, it's especially if and I haven't seen like writing samples, but from what they say, it's like indeterminable from like a human writing it. So
wow.
So they say it can get a little sideways with some of the nuance, depending on how complex the topic is, but it will be interesting to follow.
Yeah.
Lots of news today.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's it for us.
Cool. You know where to find us, theradcast.com, at the.rad.cast on Instagram. I'm at Ryan Alford on Instagram, and we will see you next time on the Radcast.